moment then.
Okay.
It's nice to see you again. Thank you for taking the time for us again.
Good to be here.
Yeah. How are things in your world?
Everything's going great, man. It's a great tour.
Yeah.
It was a really, I think it was a really cool idea to do this now, 20 years later. Sometimes I think a musician gotta, in order to go forward, you gotta look back and have a little time to, you know, dissect some of your old material, and this is a perfect example of a tour that really works, because me and Iggor, we, you know, been to so much together, and we got the idea to do this, and it's really exciting. I don't know, it's, for some reason it's exciting as hell. You know,
it's a special album.
The fans are exciting, we are exciting, we are playing very good. The shows are fantastic, you know, a lot of sold out shows, and so yeah, we're gonna end this year with a lot of great shows, and you know, work on some new stuff next year.
Well, this album, Roots, it's one of those all-time classics, and it still holds up very well today. It's still a very vibrant album if you listen to it. It aged well. Why do you think it's still so current?
Well, I think it's kind of a timeless record, really. I think it's kind of one of those really right place, right time kind of records with the ideas, and it gave birth to so many cool things in music. I think not just for me, but for other projects and other bands in other parts of the world. I think the world music idea of Roots, the tribal idea of mixing native music with metal and percussion with metal, and all that's quite never been done like that before. Roots was the pioneer of that kind of thing, and
it was really new.
Yeah, and it was and it was well done. I think, you know, it was like really well portrayed, and we added the tribe song, Going to the Tribe, and did It's Sorry, and yeah, it came out, I think it came out better than what we had in mind. You know, when we first thought about the project, when I first thought about the Roots project, I didn't think it was gonna come out quite so good, and I didn't know it will have this much impact. That's another thing we didn't know, you know. Back then we just going in the studio just to make records and make a good record. You know, nobody entered the studio thinking that we're making a classic. You know, that wasn't. You're not. I think you're making a classic when you're not thinking about making a classic.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about it, then it doesn't happen.
Then it doesn't work.
Then it doesn't work. Yeah. So it's one of those things about Roots.
If you listen to this album, it's really unpolished in the best of ways. You can hear that you just had fun with it. You went for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things were simplified in the music side, especially riffs. A lot of because the earlier Sepultura stuff, especially Beneath the Remains, Arise, even Schizophrenia era, is very complicated. A lot of riffs and you know, thrash stuff. So Roots, what we try to do is showing the other side of the spectrum, that you can make metal, you can simplify metal, and still be good, and has a bit of a punk attitude with it. That's why songs like Spit, Stray Hate, Cutthroat came out so powerful like that, you know. But it's very minimalistic, you know. It's very kind of primordial. You know,
how much can you take away and still be metal? Yeah,
and I've almost like less is more kind of approach. You know, less is more. You get more out of making something more simple than something if it was very complicated. I mean, there's still some complicated stuff, like the beginning of Stray Hate has a lot of parts, and you have songs like Dusted that has a lot of different kind of patterns, different speed patterns on it, dynamics, you know.
Perhaps that's why it survived the time as good as it did, because you brought it down to its core.
I think so. I think it was good. At that time, it was what we were feeling it, It's what we thought, this is good right now, we should do this. And I don't regret. I think it was the right thing to do.
Absolutely, yeah. I like the little giggles between songs and the little elements on it. In between songs you have like a little laugh, stuff like that. It makes it feel real.
That's just part of capturing live recording. You know, I think Ross was really into that.
Yeah.
Between us talking and you know, just the vibe. I think yeah, he was really intrigued by our power as a band to get, when we got our instruments and just jam, just explosion came out of it, you know. So he was really into that. And I think he also, you know, he liked when we spoke Portuguese. I think it was like exotic for him, you know. So I think he captured a little bit of that, which I think is cool for the record, you know.
Absolutely.
But I think the coolest thing about Roots is that it was the theme that was used, because it was Ross recording, and his recording was very raw, very unpolished. And we sent it to Andy Wallace, which was the producer of the last album, KZD. And Andy Wallace has worked with everybody from Nirvana, Slayer to Madonna. He's a very, very master kind of guy, you know. And so he grabbed the album and really made it sound just amazing, just really.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Hey,
come on in.
Hello, guys.
welcome.
Thank you. How's it going?
Ready?
Sorry, I'm a
Fresh from
little-
haircut.
Yes, I need to clean up a little. All right. So is that cool to sit here, or?
Yeah, absolutely, no problem.
Yeah.
You can catch it.
All right. If you can.
We're
Sorry.
just talking a bit about the album and yeah, continue.
Yeah. So it's more like, you know, I mean the lads more idea really work on Roots in many levels, and I think the simplification of the songs really work out and translates great live.
Yeah, I bet.
Very powerful live. Right now on this tour, I think my favorite songs to play is Spit and Stray Hate, Speed, Stray Hate, and maybe a little bit, you know, on the jam side, Rata Mahata, because it's a very percussive
It's always been a very special song.
Yeah,
Rata
but
Mahata.
it's really fun to play this stuff after 20 years, you know.
I bet, yeah. There's a lot of percussion on this album. That doesn't mean you have extra percussionists on the stage? Or?
No,
He's
no.
doing it all.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about Roots. Also, we done in a way that we could redo it live. It wasn't like, it was more like certain jams and certain beats are very percussive, so we can reproduce that. And there's a part in the show where me and Max, we do a proper drum percussion jam thing, which is like one of my favorite parts of the show, because it's something that it really translates our state of mind at the time, trying to put a lot of the tribal energy into a metal show. And for me that was like super important, you know, like to get not only to do myself but also to get Max involved, because that's how we were feeling at that time. So to bring this back today on stage, for me, is very special.
When I listen to the Roots album, it sounds a lot like the record of a personal journey that you make us a part of. It's like a really spiritual thing, it seems. I really like that about the Roots album.
Well, I'm glad it had the effect. You know, we don't know the effect it's gonna have because we're not there with the fan when they're listening and absorbing. You know, it's the mystery of music, which makes music mystical and amazing. You know, I think that's the best thing about music. Probably is this mystical thing that happens when people get into the records. But I think Roots, if you get into the whole thing like a journey, it's really cool. And now we're playing the whole thing live, and it feels great.
Like
we played the whole record live, so I never done a whole album before like that.
Yeah,
first time. So
even the order.
Yeah.
The order of the album, if you listen to it, is the order that we play live.
Yeah.
So it's something really cool, because also again, it's something that at first I was like, I'm not sure because live it's a different animal. But again, looking back, it's like, wow, even the order of the songs, they totally make sense. translated to a show. And that's something that I had no idea when me and Max start going back and forth about doing this, if it would work or if we had to manage the songs to be more like a show. But we didn't have to do anything. Just like once we play from beginning to the end, we're like, wow, it really works as a show also.
Yeah.
One of the other things I really like about the Roots album is that it's with the percussion, it's really hypnotic. There are rhythms in there that just drag you into the songs. How is it to play those songs live? How does the audience respond to it?
I don't know, like the percussive side, it usually does put people in kind of like a mantra state that I really enjoy this, and that's something that me and Max, even before Roots, we always talked about this, on how to incorporate certain beats that can be repetitive and at the same time have a groove to it and be heavy. That was a trick, because for us it also, we're very careful not to do it just for the sake of doing a Brazilian thing, or we were like very meticulous at the time to make sure that it felt like we're doing something that we would come up with and not just us trying to be a Brazilian percussive band or a samba school band.
It could have turned into some kind of jazz experiment.
Yeah.
And maybe it wouldn't be a school, you know.
You don't want it to be a gimmick.
Yeah. So, but I think songs like Roots, Bloody Roots is like you said, like a mantra. You know, it's like repeating itself back and forth all the way through. And it's very hypnotic, and it has a really big impact on the people. And then you have the big chorus, of course, you know, which is always important. I'm a big fan of big choruses. You know, I always love when crowds sing together. You know, chants of big choruses.
And I don't know anybody that can do as good as him, because it's like, seriously, it's like very, you know, like very few bands in metal can do something that still powerful and it's still catchy. Catchy is the word, you know. It's like, it's not pop, but it's catchy. And Max, I think for me, he's the master of that. He can, you know, he can make the, you know, kids sing something that it's like, even on this tour, I was surprised how much the kids were singing all the way through the whole show. I was like, wow. Because of course, the first time we play Roots, it's still fresh on people's mind when we did the first tour for it. And now people are way more absorbed. The album, it's in their DNA somehow. So it's like, man, they're singing everything, and it's only he can do that kind of shit, man.
We've been playing it for 20 years, man.
Yeah, I know. They better know it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there are a lot of great lyrics on this record. Open up your mind and go your own way. Live your life, leave me alone. These roots will always remain. What are your favorite lines on the album?
Open up your mind and go away. It has a funny story, because we were driving, and I was driving the car to the studio to sing, and I came up with the idea, and I had to stop the car, you know, on the side of the road, and had find something to write down. I had an idea for a lyric, and we were looking through the car, and we got the glove box and find some paper, some pen and paper, and we side of the road writing down, and went to the studio and sang that. So sometimes the ideas just come kind of like that, you know. So it's a good thing it was not 3 in the morning. But that would have worked too, you know.
These times it's easier. You have a phone.
Yeah.
The iPod, whatever.
But I like that. I also like the cutthroat that we made a reference to Epic, which was we had experience with Epic Records, an album before, and it was very we didn't like it, you know. The big label shit was like so corporate, you know. It was like so not us. We were so like, oh, this is not for us at all, man, you know. It's like, god damn, you know. So we made the song Cutthroat, and I sing Epic, you know, slave man, pathetic, ignorant, corporate, you know. So that was kind of sticking the knife of the big boss, you know.
They're great sing-along lyrics. It's really good.
Yeah, I like Attitude is cool. I think mostly because it doesn't say the name of the song, but it has the "Can You Take It" part, which everybody sings along, you know, and so again, it's a different way of making a song catchy. You use a different word, not exactly the chorus, a different word, but make that kind of in a catchy phrase type thing, you know. So yeah, I think it works really good, you know, and I think I love the connection between my riff, the vocals, and the drums, because Igor's doing some stuff that goes with the vocals, you know. I think that's pretty magic. That's
combination is very important.
Yeah, and that's like so intricate, but it works, man, in so many levels.
But
you know,
it's also because I have to say, me and Max are very percussive people. You know, even the way he plays the guitar, it's very different than a lot of rhythm players. Like on the show right now, he does a lot of effects and things that, for me, it's more like he's playing percussion. He's not really doing the typical guitar playing, and that also goes for the vocals. I remember sometimes we would be jamming, and Max would start singing something without lyrics, but just like mumbling something very percussive that later he would find the words to fit in there. So I think that the percussive side of it is really cool, because that communication, it becomes a new thing, a new style of us writing differently than a typical rock band or even like a metal band for that thing. So it's like, for me, that's what makes it special, because especially as a drummer, to have that, it means that you have a lot of freedom to create rather than just follow a guitar riff or a bass line. So it's a lot more of a challenge, you know.
Even if you look at the title track, Roots Bloody Roots, it's just one or two notes that are rhythmically played in a certain way. Even that is already really rhythmic, I think. On this album, you did things a little bit differently than all your albums before. With Chaos AD, you already brought some new elements to the table, but you could say with Roots, you really redefined the metal genre. What do you think makes a song heavy?
I think a good riff and pounding drums on top of it, you know. I mean, and then some good screaming, you know. You have these three elements, put them together, you have a powerful recipe in your hands. That's pretty much. I think a song like Spit is pretty much like that. You know, you have the opening riff that the bass does. And then when the drums comes in, it comes with all the power of the drumming, you know, and and then the vocals come in later, and I think those three things it's like the core of a powerful song.
I'll add to that, like, I think the raw power when you do something, you know, even a song for me like Look Away, which is like very simple, but it has this weird energy to it that it makes it like super heavy with the low end and the way the drums are a bit more like slow. Or so I think those elements that Max said, but also adding a bit of this energy that sometimes you only hear, you know, in a riff like the first Black Sabbath thing, which is like simple but maybe one of the heaviest riffs ever. It's like, wow, man. So those things are really important, you know, like the right energy at the right time, you know.
And I like also, I was really intrigued by the beginning of Stray Hate, which is the first thing we wrote for Roots. This is where we started, the whole project was started with Stray Hate. Stray Hate for me reminds me of Bad Brains, you know. It's the build up of Eye Against Eye, you know, a big takeover. It's like building up, you know, and I think we did that as influence from Bad Brains, from listening to the Bad Brains, but it's completely. If you don't tell somebody, they will never know. You know, they don't know what's coming from, you know, because it's the way we do it so much heavier and full of feedback and stuff, and
the drums are more tribal.
Very
not just the straight. Which I'm a fan of both, you know.
But it's a perfect setup for when the I mean, when that hits, it's just like, yes,
Absolutely,
you know,
yeah.
it came. You were waiting like 2 minutes of feedback and build up and tribal for that fucking, and it's just all that build up just for that, which is great. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, details like that matter. You know, when you're making the record, you know, it's what makes it, gives it power, and it's like, even live, I love that part on the set. For me, it's one of my favorite parts of the show live is the build up of Stray Hate into the build up and the middle part that goes into the same thing again. This fucking noisy shit, and then the drums, you know, and it's like you're losing your mind, you know, it's like out of control, which is great, you know, it's like
going up into the music.
That's very metal.
Absolutely.
And punk together
As well.
in a blender.
To me, the old Sepultura and the later Cavalera projects have always been synonymous with family, something that's also very important to me. You're on tour with your brother, you tour with your son and your wife. Can you tell us a bit about what family means to you, to both of you?
Well, I for me, it took me a long time, but once I realized that success, it is doing what you do, but also including the people that you love to do with you. And then once that hit for me, that was like the moment then I was like, okay, I'm successful. You know what I mean? It's not about the money, not about the fame, it's about feeding your kids, but also making sure that they're part of what you do. And Max taught me that really well, you know, from the beginning, because it's like, man, you make sure your kids are part of it. And this way, even if they go do something else, but somehow they experience what you do, and it's much easier for them to understand what you do. Because sometimes some kids in their head is like, why my dad's going away to do this? So they know exactly how it is to be on the road. Like my youngest son, his first year, he traveled with the Cavalera Conspiracy for like 4 months. And then, you know, like nowadays, if I tell him like I have to do this, he knows exactly. He's not even going like, oh, Dad. He's like, yeah, I know what you have to do, because I've been there, and that's very important for me.
It's a part of your journey now.
Yes, and for me, it's super important the way Max does this, and the way I try to involve. You know, like I play another project with my wife, and you know, in the future, if I have a chance to do something with my kids, I also would love to do that, and it's cool. It's like, and also it's very natural. Like for example, Zion playing at Soulfly right now. I go see him play, and I'm like, it's a natural progression, man. It's the same way. If I look at me when I was like 14, 15, I'm like, I don't need to tell him anything, man. He knows exactly what to do. You know, it's just, and it's the same way. Like he observes. When I go play a show, he'll be observing, and I look at him. It's like, yeah. We know it's a quite special thing, you know. I never had to tell him like, oh, Zion, you should do this. Nah, he knows what's up.
We've always been big on family, you know, coming from Brazil, but also coming from an Italian family that's really close. You know, we had like Sunday Sunday lunch every Sunday. The whole family would get together, and everybody be screaming on the table, and it was fun. You know, it was like. Something that we did all the time, and yeah, you know, we keep the family. I'm very proud of. For me, I totally agree with Igor. Is success is be able to do what you love and share with your family. So it's the coolest thing ever, you know, and I get to do that now. I'm playing with him in the Roots and Cavalera, and I got to play with my son in Soulfly. It's so cool, man. You know, it's like I can't complain. You know, it's like a lot of those are some of my dreams as a kid came true. You know, so it's fantastic.
And has your relationship changed over the years? If you look back at the Roots era compared to now? Yeah,
and I think also that's something that only with time, you know. Like I remember when we toured Roots, it was a lot of drama and a lot of stuff that at that age, I didn't realize, you know, how important stuff that we're doing, and I was just being an idiot most of the time. And also like the whole atmosphere, the crew, everyone was kind of like, oh, nowadays when I do a tour, I don't want to have any drama. You know, I want to come in, I want to do my show, I want to see the fans happy, I want to hang out with my brother, exchange culture, exchange ideas, hang out with my family. I have my nephews, I have Gloria here, my wife comes all the time. That's what it's about. So it does change a lot, you know what I mean? It'll be a lie if I say like, no, nothing changed from 20 years ago. No, it did. And I have to say in a very positive way, because we do learn from a lot of mistakes, and also try to redo some of the good things that we did. So I think it's super important to have all those years and to be able to come back and do this. Like we mentioned last night, like, you know, someone like Pantera cannot do that. You know, like they already missed one of their guys. So for us, I feel super fortunate that me and Max can still, we're super healthy, we're kicking ass, we're doing our thing. So
we're privileged.
Yeah, it's a privilege. Yeah,
exactly. And it's so almost like, you know, the 10 years that we didn't speak. I don't say that it was necessary, but was actually kind of important to when we came back and became brothers again. It made us realize that we really love our brotherhood. It's something that's very special, that we should take it for granted, you know. And you know, and looking at things like Dimebag and stuff like that, you do take it for granted sometimes, you know. So we decided to enjoy every moment and try to make as stress-free as possible, as you can control. Some things you can't control, but some of the stuff that you can control, we do it like that, and that's why it's so fun. Cavalera Conspiracy is fun. This thing is super fun. Yeah. You know, Cavalera Conspiracy there's a little bit of pressure on, because it's new songs and stuff like that, you know. Like people gonna compare with the old shit, you know. It's always like, for
me, it's all about being challenges. I love the challenge of like, me and Max, we need to sit down and write some music that we love, and that for me, it didn't change when we were 14 and 15. It's the way we love music and the way we write music. We're just, you know, getting together, putting our ideas on it, and that's the cool thing about Cavalera. It's also because we do have a very special connection with the right now, rather than just a connection to the past. It's like, dude, now what can we do that it's cool, and we can be like, yes, this is exciting, let's play this, you know. So I love that feeling also of like, okay, we need to come up with shit right now to play tomorrow and have fun, you know.
Tonight is about looking back and having fun, and we play the whole record, you know, which is great. It's like an hour and 1 minute, and then we come back and do some other messing around stuff, you know, that we keep it a secret. We're not gonna tell you.
Okay. I'll be in front again. So.
Yeah.
You get your experience.
Watch out for the water. Don't get too wet. And but yeah, we love playing Holland. I think it's gonna be a great show. This whole tour has been fantastic so far. You know, a lot of the shows are very packed, and there's a kind of an atmosphere in the air that's really unique. I think because of the elements, because of Roots itself being 20 years old, and there you have young people that was even born when Roots came out, and they're going fucking nuts. You know, they're loving it. You know, and then you have like old farts like us that, you know, were there. You know, and you know, and they get, you know.
It's a cool combination. Yeah.
Great, very, very great combination. You know, that someone that goes like, "Oh, I was there back in the day," you know, and like for me, it's better. The older you get, better it gets. You know, that's just you know. Of course, you can look back at the videos and it's really cool and stuff. But I think as a musician, the challenges. I think right now how we playing this, how we represent Roots right now, it's fantastic.
Yeah, the energy.
It's a great energy, and we do we tweak a couple things on the songs, make them, you know, their own right now, so they fit fit the time, and we do a new version of Roots 2016, which is very powerful in the end, you know. So it's a fantastic show. I'm very excited.
I can't wait to hear it. To close off, do you have any last words for our readers?
I think Max, he summed up really something that is really important, that we always had a really strong relationship with Holland. From the Dynamo days, you know, in a very small club, going through Pinkpop, like a massive festival, and then doing, of course, clubs and venues like this tonight. So I think, you know, there's a very strong connection between what we do and Holland. So we're really happy to be here.
We're happy to have you.
It's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah. Well, have fun up there.
Thank you.